Okay, this video is going to walk you through how to do today's warm-up. The first thing you need to do is go to your calculator, press Stat, go to Edit, hit Enter, and type all this data into your calculator, down list 1. I've already done that for you, but the next thing you need to do then is you're going to press Stat, go to Calculate, and we're going to do the 1var stats. This tells you lots of good information. The first number is your average of all the data, or all the test scores. That's not a very good test score average. And this is all the scores added up. This is the number of data that you have. So if you took all the number of data values that you have added up divided by this, it gives you the average that you see at the top here. Other good information is down at the bottom here. You'll see that we have a 5-number summary here. This is what we're going to use to make the box and whisker plot. So when you're asked to make the box and whisker plot on your sheet, use those set of 5 numbers to help make the box and whiskers. So the first thing is you transfer this information here. 42 goes down to this. 56 is the beginning of the box. Median 69.75 is the middle. Q3 is the upper quartile. That's your right-hand side of the box. And last of all, the max. Some things to consider are, do I have any outliers? The first thing you do is you measure out how far is it from here to here, multiply that distance by 1.5, and add it on to the Q3, and it comes out to be 115.45. As you'll notice, we're safely, with all of our data values, below 115.45. And if you want to figure out the cutoffs on the bottom, you do the same thing. You take Q1, which is this number right here, times 1.5, and subtract that value from the Q1, and you get an answer of 21.05. So as you can see, we're safely above 21.05 also. Next, notice I have a title, and I also have labels for my data values down here. That's what you need for a perfect box and whisker graph. Next, as we're trying to move over to the frequency table, you got to look and say, what is my biggest and smallest values? My smallest value here is 42.1, so I need to round that down to the nearest 5, which puts you at 40, and it also needs to be rounded up to the nearest 5, which is at 100. If you take 100 minus 40, which is 60, and divide by 5, that means you should be counting for your 5 classes, dividing by 5, you get 12. So starting from 40, you're going to start adding 12s. Do that first down the left-hand side, and then finish off each interval as you look at each new line. So if this is at 40 to what? Well, this is 52, so I got to stop at 51. Same thing here, stop at 63, so you can get to 64 next, and so on. Then you go to your data values, and you start checking off how many do I have in the 40s basically up to 51, the 50s up to 63, and so on. Fill in the frequency part here, then transfer this over to your histogram. Hopefully you'll notice your histogram has the highest Y value of 7, and all your intervals go by the numbers on the left-hand side of each of these intervals, 40, 52, and so on. Then as you make the histogram graph itself, make sure you label your bars, give it a title, label your axes, both of them, X and Y. And then last of all, you're going to take your calculator and go back one more time to your calculator, press Stat, do the 1var stats again if you need to. And then you'll notice that your average is at 68.72. That answer goes right here, but we're going to round it to the nearest whole number at 69. Then do the same thing for the standard deviation, and if you're not sure which one to use, look at your question. Notice it says sample. That means we're doing part of the total group of quiz takers. As you can notice, there's more than 20 people in the class. So you'll notice then I'm going to use this one right here for the sample standard deviation at 15.13, or 14. But then as I round that, it goes to 15. So then if I want to start talking about percents of my data, if I go 15 to the right and 15 to the left of this number, I will then capture 68%. So the interval should go from 54 to 84. Don't forget the other intervals. If you went 2 out on both sides, meaning going out by 30 on both sides, you'd capture 95% of the data. And if you went out by 45 on both sides of this average, you'd capture 99.7% of all the data, which is basically all the data. Hopefully this video helps, and using this information hopefully will help you be more successful on the quiz and the test coming up. Good luck.